What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do the right thing, smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and make sure to share this video with your friends and family, because what we're about to break down is hot off the press and boiling with controversy. The South African Police Service, SAPS, has just thrown down the gauntlet in a bold and fiery message aimed squarely at Operation Dudula. The message is loud, clear, and unshaken: back off, stay away from illegal foreigners, it's not your job. Tensions have been running high for months, but now they've officially reached a boiling point. Operation Dudula, the controversial movement that's been making headlines for its aggressive stance against undocumented immigrants, has just been publicly warned by SAPS to stand down. No more kicking down doors. No more street patrols. No more storming shops and demanding documents. Because the state is finally saying what many have waited to hear: enough is enough. SAPS, through a strongly worded statement, made it clear that the law belongs to the police and no one else. The enforcement of immigration laws, the arrest of undocumented persons, and the investigation of foreign nationals involved in criminal activity are responsibilities of the authorities, not community vigilantes. Not angry mobs. And certainly not a movement that's operating outside any legal framework. This statement hit like a thunderclap. For weeks, no, months, Operation Dudula has been leading the charge across townships and informal settlements, targeting foreign-owned spaza shops, street traders, and suspected illegal residents. Their methods: unofficial raids, on-the-spot interrogations, forced removals, and public naming and shaming. Videos have flooded social media showing Dudula members confronting shopkeepers, demanding passports, and even chasing undocumented foreigners out of their homes. Supporters of the movement say they're doing what government refuses to do: cleaning up communities, protecting jobs for South Africans, and standing up against drug dealers and criminal syndicates they believe are hiding behind fake asylum papers. But critics, including human rights organizations and now SAPS itself, are calling it what it truly is: mob justice. And that's the danger right there. When ordinary citizens begin to take the law into their own hands, no matter how noble the intentions may seem, the rule of law begins to crack. What starts as a protest can turn into a witch hunt. What begins as community action can spiral into chaos. And that's exactly what SAPS is trying to stop before more lives are lost, more shops are looted, and more blood spills on the streets. The tension between Operation Dudula and the authorities has been simmering for a while, but this latest move is the clearest line in the sand. SAPS officials have gone further by stating that any individual or group that interferes with police operations or engages in unauthorized enforcement will be treated as criminal offenders themselves. That means arrests, charges, and possible jail time, not just for illegal immigrants, but for those taking the law into their own hands. And make no mistake, this is a serious development. The state is waking up to the fact that it can't keep turning a blind eye. For too long, politicians have flirted with Dudula's popularity, using its message to stir popular support while avoiding responsibility. But now that the movement is becoming a law unto itself, pushing boundaries, confronting police, and threatening social cohesion, SAPS has no choice but to intervene. This comes at a critical time. South Africa is grappling with a crisis of public trust. People don't believe the system works anymore. They don't trust the immigration controls. They don't trust the justice system. And many don't even trust the police. That vacuum of trust is exactly what allows groups like Operation Dudula to flourish. When people feel abandoned, they start building their own systems of justice. But that path leads to dangerous places. We've seen it in other countries: mob justice, community purges, violent uprisings. And we've seen it here in South Africa before, during the xenophobic attacks of 2008, 2015, and more recently in 2019. So now we are back at a crossroads. SAPS has thrown down the warning. But will Operation Dudula listen? Or will they double down, claiming that the state has failed, and only they can protect the people? That's the million-rand question. Because if they choose defiance, we could be looking at a dangerous standoff between law enforcement and a movement that's growing bolder and louder by the day. Already, some members of Dudula have responded angrily to the SAPS warning. They say it's hypocritical for police to suddenly get involved when they've done nothing for years. They say communities are tired of drug dens, overcrowded schools, and vanishing job opportunities, all of which they blame on undocumented foreigners. They argue that Dudula is the voice of the people, and that the state is now protecting the very criminals they claim to be fighting. But SAPS isn't budging. They're reminding the public that immigration status alone doesn't justify harassment, threats, or eviction. That due process exists for a reason. That the state must retain its monopoly on violence and enforcement, because the alternative is a society ruled by vigilantes, where anyone could be next. This isn't just about foreign nationals anymore. It's about the soul of South Africa. About the rule of law. About whether we still believe in institutions, or whether we're descending into self-made justice, fueled by anger and fear. Because once the line is crossed, it's hard to walk it back. So here we are, Operation Dudula, once hailed by some as heroes, now being told to step back by the very institutions they claim to support. SAPS has fired the first warning shot. What happens next could shape the future of civil order in this country. Thanks for sticking with us, fam. This one is intense and far from over. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with SAPS stepping in? Or do you think Dudula is doing what the government won't? Let's hear from you. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fearless coverage. We are bringing you the stories that matter, with no spin and no sugarcoating. Until next time, stay sharp, stay safe, and keep questioning everything.